Another Bowie one, yeah. Train's Oddity is of course batshit. There's an actual adult fandom for Thomas the Tank Engine out there, and I mean at least one commenter approved this. But yeah, I just got the joke Fat Controller to Engine Tom in my head, and then I had to write the rest of it. The stems from the original Space Oddity had been released, so I rebuilt it, but with the story of Thomas the Tank Engine going off the rails, and maybe finally like achieving his freedom and being reborn as the Star Child Express. This is arguably the song adaptation of a story I wrote on the Thomas Fanon wiki. I don't know if you've seen fanfiction wikis, but they are amazing. They have a lot of attention to canon detail whilst indiscriminately extending it. They had one rule that you couldn't kill a character, so I wrote a story where Thomas kills himself. I can't find it now. I dislike my face in front view. You gotta have at least one cheekbone cornering it. Not that I've got the cheekbones anymore. A rare example of nudity from me. It's pretty low resolution webcam stuff, but yeah, I'm topless in that. I'm painted white and blue. There's a separate bit in which my face is in Thomas the Tank Engine, but I think in this I'm also playing Thomas the Tank Engine, but this is like Soul Thomas. There's a bit there where I just fall off screen. You can see me kind of collapse. It was intentional, but it's just a blink and you miss it cameo, really. Mixing the Thomas theme tune into Space Oddity, I mean, I recognize how much it doesn't work, and when you consider that, it's impressive how much it works. A crossover with Tugs was me taking a bit of a liberty, but it works. I'd forgotten how good that was. I should maybe do more surrealist pieces. Maybe I'm better the further I get from Sense. You might want to unsubscribe. The Corbyn song, it is a big risk to pin my allegiance to one politician. Like, the Labour Party has let people down continuously in the UK, but at least they officially mean well. And amongst the Labour leaders, Corbyn is the best person we've had in living memory. Not necessarily the most appropriate leader, I don't know, but the manifesto under him was this glimmer that things might ever get better. I hesitate to tie that to one man, but for over 50 years, he's always campaigned for peace, equality, and social justice. It's rare that that's true of someone who's actually a political candidate. I guess I could have made this song and then some big scandal could have come out. He could turn out to be an embarrassment like many politicians. But I don't know, he was just done dirty by the UK public. So I think everything I say in this song still stands. It's inherently a product of its time, the time when progressive politics were feasible in the UK. And yeah, it's a big risk to say something so earnest and optimistic. Again, it was someone else who came up with the title hook, noticing that Jeremy Corbyn scans to Little Red Corvette. It was possibly Alex that pointed that out to me, and whenever anyone else comes up with this stuff, I get that clearance if I want to write the song. But to be honest, that one, and the concluding bit where I go into Pearl Jam, many people had mentioned it on the internet already, so I just had to get around to recording it before anyone else did. I managed that, and I was trying to get the kind of chill tone of the original Prince song. I don't know, I think it maybe ended up a bit too easy listening. I think maybe the colours are a bit off in this. Like, the purple's good, but everything that's not purple is kind of yellow. I don't know if that was a post-production temperature thing. I could have worked on that a bit better. That little peg in the wall in the background's pretty annoying. I just wanted a clear backdrop at my parents' place, so I took down some picture on the wall, I guess. I guess, though, the kind of weirdly calm tone of the song now reads as a kind of eerie nostalgia. Like, remember when things could have gotten better? And I think that tone is in the original Prince song, but maybe I should have put more effort into making the end parts sound like Pearl Jam, rather than just being part of the same song. I'm undecided whether that one's any good. I'm self-conscious about its positive passion. That's kind of moot now. The austerity engine plows on. Louis Theroux, it's another of those hella obvious ones. You know, there's a well-known song that another thing scans well to. There's a pretty big zeitgeist of like Gen Z and millennial Louis Theroux fans, and I'm basically sincerely one of them, but I guess I embellished it for this song. I rounded up his height for the rhyme 6'3" with a history degree. 6'2.5", but you know, you can round that up. By this point, I had got back into making my own music and thereby didn't want to spend the energy on recording parody songs musically. And really, the karaoke tracks, I mean, that's kind of what they're there for. It's probably a better way to do it, unless I can perfectly recreate the original, and I don't really have even the budget for that. And maybe it's that for these videos where it's a compilation of clips rather than showing any me in it. I'm not playing myself saying this, I'm just making a thing that says it. I don't actually expect to get famous off of YouTube. My ambition is to get to a level where I can claim that someone asked me for a photo as an excuse for being late to something, but crucially, not where people actually ask me for photos. The Ryu one, not quite a parody song, but kind of relevant enough to throw in, and it is new lyrics to a familiar tune. So I've played Street Fighter games a lot, and when you complete Street Fighter 2 as Ryu, there's this beautiful melody, and I did as a kid just kind of read the text to the melody, so I'm just expressing that in song. A commenter disparaged the way I pronounce the word ceremony, which, yeah, does help it scan, but I'm British apparently, and that's just, you know, I've always thought of that word as ceremony, so I guess it didn't occur to me that a lot of the audience would find that pretty alien. But it's one correct way to say that word, and if I grew up saying it as ceremony, then I would never have thought to set it to this melody, so there. It was kind of bold of me to do a parody of a cover song, but I do think the Beck version has a certain fame because it was used in that film, and I just dig the mood of it. I think that's a nice thing to apply to Milhouse. When I make these things out of existing footage, I had to officially acquire loads of Simpsons episodes with memorable Milhouse bits, and I've still got those. I've deleted those files. This old film filter on my software is maybe not quite worth using. I don't know if that's gonna hurt people's eyes. It's actually a bit of a difficult song to play because there's like a beat dropped in the chorus that is difficult to place. I maybe should have been a bit more consistent with the accent. I kind of start out with a Beck somewhat impersonation and I've dropped it later on. There's a bit with Nelson where like the transition judders, and I get really annoyed at that because it's a software error and I have to squint at all the transitions to make sure they've rendered correctly, and if they've not, then I kind of just got to trial and error it again. But yeah, that one got through. The drums on this are not programmed, they're like played on a keyboard or something, and that's why it's very slightly off the beat, you know, there's a kind of clumsiness to it. I was very tempted to put the original audio, but nobody likes Milhouse in here. Maybe I should have, but I decided to let people who are watching intently hear it for themselves. The Susie Dent song. After those male fandom songs, it felt like I ought to do one for a woman, and I do really appreciate Susie. She's an awesome lexicographer, she's brilliant on Twitter, and I appreciate her kind of asexual wit. Again, as I kind of hope to do with most of these songs, it basically just elaborates, gives all the details on who she is, so someone who's never heard of her could get the crash course from this. It did take quite a while after deciding that I'd do a Susie Dent song to think of something to match it up with, so maybe that's a bit artificial of me, but when it twigged Time to Pretend, it's just such a perfect match that that refrain has the same vowels as Susie Dent, that in practice it's not artificial at all. Seeking material for this video was a bit dodgy. If you look for countdown material on YouTube, there's so much that objectifies her. It's like Susie Dent cleavage compilations. It doesn't match her character character, they just crop out all the shots that are not of Susie, so she's not even speaking in full sentences, and it would literally zoom in on her cleavage. The same happens for Rachel Riley, the same happens for like weather presenters. If you're a woman on TV, daytime TV particularly, there's like this demographic of daytime pervs. It's quite upsetting, and I did have to use some of their footage. I mean, obviously they got it from Channel 4 for this video, and I just used it in an asexual context, as Susie would intend. I used the original karaoke track, and it might be mixed pretty obnoxiously loudly. I maybe regret not trying to turn it down, but that is how the original track sounds. I mean, it's a great song. I like these bits where I just triply edited the countdown intro graphics. I kind of regret appearing in it myself. I wish I'd just used Susie footage, but I guess at the time it felt like this made it a bit more first person. Like, it made a bit more sense that I was explaining it rather than just showing her on screen. That's a bit more pervy. But I think I tried to construct the whole thing with countdown footage and then felt like it needed something for variety, so just filmed this into a laptop webcam and I could have come up with something better for this. My hair is black and blonde here. Maybe I should have just emphasized the trippy vibe and done more like psychedelic effects. I enjoy the phrase early mid-afternoon and misusing this absolutely immersive song's medium pace with something as banal as saying when a show is on TV. There's a big regret for the line studying words that I placed the syllables wrongly. It doesn't quite match the original, and that's my mistake. I enjoy the innocence of the phrase hooray for. Like, I don't think I've ever said that before. Hooray for that. There's a bit at the end where I just callously say, not Rachel, Susie Dent, and it's kind of a joke about men having crushes on Rachel, which happens a lot, and like, I'm rejecting her, and the joke is that I'm being so fickle about it because I've got nothing against her. But since then, Rachel has been continually shitting her pants on Twitter, so I can stand by this. I tend to map out the original lyrics and then see what I can come up with that has the same kind of syllable emphasis rhythm, same rhyme scheme, and maybe the same vowels, and hopefully that makes a cogent narrative within the new theme. I'll work off a bullet point list of everything I want to mention, maybe in what order. You get those parodies where it's just too close to the source, and that's artless. I think you can earn the occasional cheeky, lazy line by making the other bits clever, then it's funny that there's a line that lazy. For the video, I'll probably print out the lyrics, highlight and note how I want each line to be presented, set up the audio on loop, and then see how many takes I can do without knocking the camera. Then I watch each tape back and take note of which I'm least embarrassed by. In the later videos, I've used more found footage, aka stolen footage, because they're less about me or the lyrics' first-person character. And that involves acquiring, arranging, and assembling loads of footage, noting what hopefully fits each bit the best. SEGA is the last one I did before I got my own place, and at my parents' place to record stuff, I kinda had to wait for them to be out so I could clear a room for recording, and you know, it was whatever time I could wrangle together for that. I did borrow some of these machines because the Master System wasn't actually part of my childhood from some kind of rage quitter and a colleague called Ben. One lovely way that this video was promoted was that someone posted it to the Bad Music Reddit, and like, I wasn't really trying to make it good music, but maybe this tone of like trying to be sincerely enthusiastic doesn't really suit me. I don't know, I can see how this one's a bit cringe. Stretching out the SEGA jingle is ridiculous, but it had to be done. You can see how the song originated from me realizing that that scans similarly to Hey Ya, and then I had to write all the rest, including that bit where there's like two vocal lines at once, and it's just an enthusiastic list of video games. It is basically just a list, and you know, I'm trying to smile style, trying to shimmy like Andre. I slightly intended to do the music as a remake of Hey Ya using a Mega Drive sound font I fiddled with MIDI a bit, and I concluded that the original is close enough. I remember I was editing this video on like a 3-hour train journey, and of course I had headphones in, but after a good while of editing, I mean, it could have been 20 minutes, it could have been more. One of the other passengers asked if I could plug headphones in, and I was like, oh shit. It was a weird computer thing, but for some reason it was broadcasting on both the speakers and the headphones. And yeah, I'd just been playing back tiny segments of the video with the audio to refine it, and to anyone but the editor, that's gonna be so fucking annoying. So this is cringe because of that. I miss when my hair actually went this straight. There's a moment where I use the terrible chroma key from the software I use. I think maybe I didn't put enough oomph in, like, I'm matching Andre's tone, but don't quite have his sincere energy to it. In listing SEGA games, I have thrown in some absolutely shit ones like Eternal Champions, but, you know, it's for the sake of rhyme. A more political one, not all men, just pointing out some common behaviors of men on the internet, like being certain they're right about stuff, and sexual harassment. I couldn't really get into the costume of a man myself, so I just acted as me and did a few menacing looks. The anime profile picture is some character, I've not seen the show, but some character that a friend once said looked like me, so I'll take it. I think the overlay effects, I should have done those in a higher frame rate. I think I was just matching the footage frame rate. I'm always insecure about that stuff. That might be the most rescaled shot on my channel. Don't worry, there's nothing down there. Of course, it was tempting to buy a fedora or, you know, whatever hat that is, I don't know, but of course I wasn't gonna do it. I think and hope I combined the soullessness but not the sexiness of the Kylie song with my own natural creepiness to make a sinister overall product. Being critical of stuff is imperative, particularly men on the internet. I'd like to make more content elaborating my chronic illness. It does involve migraines. Honestly, not often. Other people get migraines much worse than me. But you know, as ever with these songs, I just realized at some point, I feel like I've known since I first heard this song in the 90s. Insane in the Brain sounds like In Pain with a Migraine. So let's just extract that. It took me ages to find a karaoke track for this. I guess I could have just taken Jump Around, but I think there was one on a YouTube video that was kind of blocked in nearly every country in the world, and I eventually swashbuckled my way through to it, and yeah, got to record my own lyrics over it. The deadpan delivery obviously suits the theme, and then in the chorus I get to do the voice. I rarely intentionally appear unshaven, and I was kind of doing it for the unwell aesthetic of this song, but I might regret it. Maybe I'm playing some kind of migraine monster. I don't know, maybe that would make this a more acceptable thing to ever have done. But I don't know if that was ever the intent. I just figured I'm doing a silly voice for this part. I don't know what to put in the video. I just paint myself blue. It is quite awkward to act pain, even serious pain, which I'm very experienced in. I'm not sure it's convincing to outsiders. The best bit is the crash zooms before the chorus. It's a rare example of me trying rap. Don't say, hey yeah, is rap, you're racist. And I guess the manner of my delivery, my flow, is instrumental to this parody, this recontextualization. Just complaining about symptoms for a whole song felt a bit thin, hence this sizable detour into statistics, which brought a great opportunity to jerk back into the chorus. Wikipedia song. It's one of the most obvious songs to do a parody of. At least I avoided making the lyrics just a list of articles. And to be honest, Chris Raygun has tried doing this song, so I knew at least I wouldn't be the most embarrassing parody if we didn't start the fire. But as obvious as the song is, its character does suit Wikipedia, and I really like Wikipedia, and I was kind of doing fandom songs at this point. So yeah, this song educates you about Wikipedia. I clicked clicked a random article a lot, and it's pretty impressive that I got Cuntis. I was struggling for screen recorder software at the time. I'd actually taken ages off from Mr. Moji, and the software I used had a pretty pathetic frame rate, but I kind of worked around it. So to do the video concept where I'm navigating in time to the song, I found the best way to do it was to play the song back real slow and just kind of follow the choreography of that and then speed it up 4 times or whatever it was. Every click the mouse makes has some sense to the song, or at least it's intended that way. I think I regret not making the font size bigger. Obviously, as I was browsing a computer screen, that was a perfectly fine size to browse it as, and if you put it full screen on a computer, it's kind of decent, it gives the experience, but there's other ways that people watch stuff. I'm quite proud of marked up to be bold, apostrophes threefold. I did try adding this song to Wikipedia as demonstrated in the video. Now, I don't honestly believe that I belong there. I don't honestly believe that that's a fair thing to do, but it was kind of a necessary joke for a song about Wikipedia, and it was necessary to see the joke through, so my apologies to the editors of Wikipedia who reverted my addition. But if you see this context, you'll get why I did it. It wouldn't be a complete song about Wikipedia if I hadn't made that joke. The references are hopefully clever, and there's a bit about Brazilian artworks, and that's a Wikipedia joke. Star Trek Into Darkness, don't just explain every joke. The vibe of this one's quite friendly and corny, kind of office email forward jokes. I get that vibe from Billy Joel anyway. I guess he meant the chorus as more powerful, and I sing it in this polite pedestrian hum, but I think Wikipedia is low-key like that, and kind of Billy Joel is. It's music. I don't know if I saw this video when it first came out, because I didn't have the music video channels, but a friend was reminiscing about the video, how they'd watch it and pretend they were playing the video game, and I thought I'd have a look, and then I thought, yeah, I can make a literal video of this. I think I've used one of those karaoke tracks where it's just slightly off, it's not the original recording, but someone approximated it pretty well, better than I could do by myself anyway. Red Hot Chili Peppers are so awkwardly good, aren't they? John Frusciante is awesome. The bass work is always great. And then there's the singer. One innovation to the concept was singing the guitar solo. Maybe I can't quite hit the high notes, but a lot went on in that guitar solo, and I couldn't just cut it from the video. I think this music video is pretty impressive because it's from 2000, but it shows the vibe of video games going forward till at least 2004. It's got that crassness, and all the women are in bikinis. This is before Grand Theft Auto 3, it's before the open world Tony Hawk's games. Maybe all of those games were inspired by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Do these guys just hang around with their shirts off all the time? It's a cool life. Thornside, again, this is one where I'm kind of picking a political side, but that's not hard with Morrissey. It's an expression of an honest experience that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. He's a horrible guy, and realizing that is tough. My friend Piper actually came up with this one, so it's from the seed of it started out with the Smiths, how did it end up like this? It was only the Smiths, it was only the Smiths. And I know that's basically only changed one word from the original song, but when she told me or tweeted that, it just had to be done. I think possibly Alex came up with the title as well. I'm nothing without stealing from people. The brilliance of the it started out with the Smiths part is why I've written something of this theme to what's not a Smiths or even Morrissey song. I think that's just about justified by how good that bit is. The thing with making any kind of political statement in something recorded is that's now public, and I have to publicly back up what I believe here. Luckily, Morrissey is still and will always be heinous as a person. I do occasionally still listen to his music. There's a bit in the second verse where I try to imply that Morrissey is singing the background bit, it was only the Smiths. I don't know if that bit carried through. Whatever, I know what I meant. This one was timely. When I made it, Morrissey had very recently said something horrible, which, well, that's not all that rare, really. That just means I made it on a day. He's currently reposting Paul Joseph Watson, seriously, and opposing the COVID vaccine? Apparently there's a London club night that's played Mr. Thornside. I can't imagine how bad my boomy vocal track would sound on club speakers. One thing I've relied on in parody song lyrics is starting out by stating that I've been a fan of something since childhood. There's at least 3 of them. I don't really need to include the Incel song, but there's a bit of story behind it. So there was a new ContraPoints video at the time that started with a dramatic reading of this very Incel post, and I just immediately realized with how heavily it used the word imagine that it could scan as a parody of that song, and the earnestness of John Lennon's song would be a pretty good contrast to the gross content of Incel stuff. It took me a while to figure out that this wasn't a parody post, this was genuine. When I was watching this ContraPoints video, I just immediately got the idea, paused, wrote it, and went to record it. I even had some instinct that maybe Natalie had done her own parody of it, because the setup is right there. So I guess I checked through the video, checked if it ended with that song, it didn't, and then just posted mine. I don't know if that necessarily makes that a fan work. I think it stands by itself, mostly just to ridicule that original post. I think I did interact with the person who originally posted this at some point, and like they enjoyed the dramatic reading, but I don't know if they became less of a hateful ghoul. I'm not really proud of using that virgin character. I think that meme has a very hateful source, but I think it's well contextualized here. That's me in my shoddy, kind of green-looking basement. I don't remember if that was post-production light compensation, but you'll see that in a lot of my cover songs videos. It's a good place to be as annoyingly music-based as I instinctively am without causing sound pollution to the rest of the world. Except the internet. Maybe it's a cheat to put fitter Rappier on this, because it's not really a parody song by the way that other things are parody songs. The lyrics have stayed intact, it's the music that's a parody of, obviously, but ridiculously, if that pointless instrumental with the pretentious robot voice, Sully's OK Computer, was actually a turn of the 90s rap song. I don't know which rapper voice I'm doing, it might be Blizzard Man, and a bit of Homer Simpson. It was cool making a video out of the Radiohead graphics. That's such an aesthetic, and I've mutated it into a new aesthetic. I think I just wanted more of you to see this. There's a few more, but those ones explain themselves. I mean, these do too. I don't really expect to make more parody songs. The concept kind of developed into my own original song videos, which is a more creatively complete product. This set, I was kind of pursuing particular ambitions. I wanted to write one about migraines and Susie Dent, and how tough it is to appear female online, and Thomas the Tank Engine killing himself. I'll still come up with stupid snippet parodies, and I bet I'll do another literal video. Thanks for bothering to watch a video, nay, maybe 2 videos, about my videos. We're really running low on entertainment after a pandemic year, huh?